Welcome back to the channel. My name is David Osuji, your psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner. Today, we are talking about the unfairness of life and how that is precisely your advantage. She sat across from me, her shoulders slumped over, her voice tight with frustration. "I don't get it," she said. "I work just as hard as everyone else, maybe even harder, but I'm always the one struggling. Meanwhile, other people get everything handed to them. It is not fair." That moment stuck with me because I realized she wasn't just venting, she was trapped. And I know she's not alone. Maybe you felt the same way. Maybe you've looked at your life, at the obstacles in your way, and wondered why some people seem to have it a lot easier. Why some people barely try and still get ahead while you're fighting for every little inch. If that sounds familiar, I want to tell you something that might be even harder for you to hear. Life isn't fair, and it never will be. But here's the real kicker. That might be the best thing that ever happened to you. Let's dissect fairness for a second. We grow up believing that fairness is a fundamental law of the universe, that if we work hard, follow the rules, and do the right things, life will balance out. But life doesn't work that way. Fairness isn't a universal law. It is a story that we tell ourselves. And when we believe that story a little bit too much, we set ourselves up for disappointment. Think about it. When we say something is unfair, what are we really saying? What we really mean is that someone has an advantage that we don't. We assume that fairness means equal opportunities, equal outcomes, and equal struggles. But life is filled with differences. Differences in talent, differences in gender, personality, background, height, genetic illness, hormonal balances, disabilities, culture, wealth, knowledge, poverty, trauma, and the list goes on and on. And these differences literally make fairness impossible. Imagine two children born on the same day, one in a war zone, the other in a Manhattan penthouse. One fights for survival, the other inherits wealth and opportunity. Same world, completely different realities. Is that fair? No, but that's life for you. Some people are born into wealth, some have natural intelligence, some have charisma, and others struggle with challenges they never asked for. No two people start from the same place, and no two people experience life the same way. Fairness assumes that life should distribute hardships and rewards equally. But think about it. Would that even make sense? We are not the same. Some people are naturally extroverted and find it easy to make connections. Others struggle with social anxiety. Some have resilience ingrained in them, while others have to work tirelessly to build it. Some are naturally optimistic, while others have to fight their own minds to see the bright side. Even if society tried to create perfect equality, the differences in our personalities and our skills and our mindset will still create differences and disparities. Additionally, every advantage is also a disadvantage, and every disadvantage is an advantage. It is just a matter of how you choose to view it and how you choose to wield it. For example, Bill Gates has ADHD. He can get really hyper-focused on things and obsess over them. When channeled properly, it is an advantage and he becomes a billionaire. Conversely, it is also a disadvantage if he could not or did not identify something that he found interesting and poured his time and obsession into. That patient that I spoke to, she wasn't just frustrated, she was stuck, trapped in comparison, trapped in resentment, trapped in the belief that life should be different before she could be happy or successful. And that's what fairness does. It is a slow poison. Keeps you waiting instead of acting. Makes you resentful instead of resourceful. Keeps you replaying every disadvantage instead of adapting, pivoting, and winning. The more you focus on fairness, the weaker you become. And here's the truth. Focusing on fairness doesn't fix anything. It just makes you feel powerless. So the real question isn't, why isn't life fair? The real question is, how do I win in an unfair world? Now, here's where things get a little interesting. What if unfairness isn't just something you have to deal with? What if it is the thing that will make you unstoppable? Think about it. If life were perfectly fair, where would the drive to improve and grow come from? No struggle, no hunger, no resilience, and no great story. The most successful people in history didn't rise despite unfairness, they rose because of it. Oprah Winfrey was born into poverty, faced endless setbacks, but she successfully built an empire. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team, and he used that pain to fuel his success. J.K. Rowling was rejected 12 times before Harry Potter was published. Fairness wouldn't have helped them to succeed. In fact, unfairness forced them to adapt, persist, and become stronger, better versions of themselves. And it can do the same for you. So, if fairness isn't real, what should you focus on instead? 1, stop comparing yourself and start building. My patient was consumed by comparisons, but comparison is the enemy of progress. Instead of asking, why does this person have it easier? Ask, how can I make the most of what I already have? 2, you want to turn disadvantages into strengths. Life will not hand you a level playing field. So what do? As mentioned, every disadvantage is an advantage. Your task is to figure out how to turn your disadvantage into strengths and lean into your natural advantages. Some of the most powerful people in history weren't naturally gifted, they were just relentless. 3, see unfairness as a test, not an obstacle. Life isn't fair. We know this. That means you have an edge over some people who are waiting for fairness to come and save them. And finally, number 4, create fairness instead of expecting it. If fairness really matters to you, don't wait for the world to fix it. Be the kind of person who creates fairness through your action, your influence, and your leadership. So, let's stop asking if life is fair. It isn't, it never was, and it never will be. The real question is, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to stay bitter or get better? Are you going to keep waiting for fairness to save you or start building a life that doesn't need it? Because the people who win aren't the ones who start with the best hand. They are the ones who play whatever hand they're dealt, and they play it like champions. That is all I got for you today, folks. If you liked the video, like and subscribe to the channel and share it with someone else who you think will benefit from it. I'll see you in the next video.